This brief video is part of a larger series exploring the new NX measure command. In this video, I'll show you how to create requirements checks for measurements in the new framework. In this particular model, we have a wing flap mechanism, and what we want to do is make sure that we're maintaining a gap between the front frame or the main frame here and this trailing edge frame in the back as we exercise the mechanism. To do that, we're going to create a minimum distance measurement between this front frame body. We'll see the mass properties for that when we select the first body, of course. And as we select the second here, we'll get the minimum distance between these two guys. So we've got a small gap between those two. We want to maintain that, so we need to measure it. We're going to save this measurement as an associative measurement, which will create an expression for that distance. We can create an annotation here so we can see what's going on. We don't need the geometry in this case, but we do want to create a new requirement in this case. So we're going to create this new one called trailing gap. We'll say that's going to be an error. If it's the gap is too small, we'll say that that gap needs to always be greater than 0.1 inch, and we'll have a brief description down at the bottom that we need to maintain that gap. So as we create that requirement, we'll put that in place. We'll again say OK here, and this will save our associative expression, associative annotation, and our new requirement check. As we do this, you see our annotation out there in place, aligned with the gap. As we look in the model navigator now, we have a do checks folder. We have a trailing gap check in here that's green at the moment because it's happy. If we want to turn on the requirements validation tool, we can start to see HT3D tags out there. Passing check or passing tag if the check is passing. We can turn that off here if it's not. We don't want to see the passing one. So we'll come in here and exercise the mechanism. We can grab our driving link here on the inside, and as we move this now, we start to see that annotation updating in real time during the motion drag here, or the assembly drag, to show us our gap between those two bodies, minimum distance between those two bodies. And as we bring these really close together here, of course we'll see that start to interfere or start to get below our threshold. We're really kind of overextending the mechanism, as you can tell here, but we see it turn red. We see that annotation turn red. Here it's turned back to green. As we violate that requirement, that one turns red, right? Similarly, if we want to again turn on say OK there, we'll start to see the HT3D tag appear. So we can come again, exercise our mechanism. As we do this, come back out into the green region and press apply. We see our tag go away because we're not violating that requirement anymore. Oops, let's bring that back. Oh, we're already in the move command. Bring that back in again as we're in that violating state. Press apply. We see the tag appear. The tag, if we mouse over that again, will give us our message that we entered in our dialog. This can be used not just for distances, but for also things like a mass target. You can set a requirement to say that a particular part, for instance, needs to have a mass less than a particular target value as well, or really any of the other associative measurement outputs.